Hey everybody, Mike here. Welcome back to the channel. So I've got this old Nelson sprinkler that was actually given to me when we first moved into our place years ago. If I had to bet, this thing's probably every bit of 20 years old, if not older. But I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get this thing back to working the way it used to back in the day. Last time I used this back in the fall, the motor just wasn't quite turning right. So basically what happens is the inside of these mechanisms will start to wear out and the gearing will strip out on them. And what was happening with mine, the actual sprinkler itself would not turn, it would just get stuck in certain positions. When that happens, the thing doesn't move forward either. So I'll throw some video I took of that last year right before the end of the season of what that looked like.
Yep, there's Nelson sleeping on the job again. Come on, Nelson, get it together.
I've never actually taken one of these apart before, but from what I've seen, it seems like it's a pretty easy deal. So I thought I'd bring you guys along real quick, and if you've got one of these old sprinklers, instead of throwing that thing away and putting it in a landfill somewhere, I thought, why not just pick up a motor, which is what I did here, see if I can give this thing new life and get some more use out of it. And since I don't know how to do anything the easy way, I'm actually gonna go ahead and throw this thing in my blast cabinet and throw a fresh coat of paint on it before I put it back together as well. And then the wheels will still be old and the actual sprinkler head will still be old when I'm done. But at least it'll look a little bit nicer out there in the yard. That's just me being OCD and not knowing when to quit. You get this thing out of the box here, and this is just something I picked up on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description as to where I got this replacement motor here. But it comes with all the brand new hardware, like you see here in this bag. And then this is your replacement motor, which will just sit right here in the back. And my understanding, when you go to take this thing apart, let's see if we can go ahead and get the sprinkler head off of here first. I guess you just pop off the wheels. I think you just, this just unthreads like so. So when we put this back on, I'll probably throw some fresh Teflon on this. And that way it seals up just fine. And then let's see if we can get these wheels off real fast. Now, like I said, mine is ancient. We've had it for every bit of, I think, 15 years now. See if I can get this off of here. Maybe the screwdriver would be a better fit. Let's try that. Oh, there we go. That seems to be working better. Oh, my wheels are so old, they're like falling apart on me. That's okay, we're still gonna use them. So there's one wheel off there. Let's see if we can get this other wheel off. See if I can get this one popped off. Now these little caps that I'm taking off, it does come with replacements of these for the new motor. And down she goes. So that was pretty easy. Screwdriver works just fine to get that off of there like that. Now if we turn this dude upside down, get the screwdriver. I've got, looks like 5 different screws to take out here. So get those zipped out. Power tools would have been the better play here, but I was concerned about breaking these off, having too much torque, but they're actually coming out pretty easy. Comes out. I'm eager to see how much better this thing does in the yard once I get it done and back operational again. This thing's been, I could tell it's been slowing down for a couple of years now. And to be honest, I was just going to throw it away. And then I got to looking online and found out that they had the replacement parts. And with the price of everything going up these days, it just made more sense to buy the part and put a little time and effort into it instead of just tossing it and buying a new one, because these things actually got kind of expensive the last couple of years. I don't know if you've priced these recently or not. All right, so there's that one to go. All right, just like that, the motor's out. So that's what you're left with. This is a nice solid chunk of metal. It's still got a lot of life left in it. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna see if I can't get that bolt out of this wheel up front here as well. 9/16 wrench gets that out of there. So just like that, this thing's completely disassembled. You can see how easy that thing came apart and broke down. And then when this new motor slaps in here, it'll look just like so. So you can see the difference between the new and the old, what you get here. Let me go ahead and take that unnecessary step I was talking about. Go ahead and knock the rest and finish off of this thing. Throw a new fresh coat of paint on this, and then we'll get back to the assembly and see how this thing operates after that.
1 day later.
I couldn't help myself, so instead of painting this thing yellow, I ended up just deciding to paint it black. And now it looks like the old Batmobile, which is actually kind of cool. But let's go get this thing put back together real quick. I went ahead and decided to take the wheels off of this thing as well. It was kind of unnecessary, but I thought I'd go ahead and try to slap a coat of paint on there and see what it looked like. They look a little better, but they honestly don't look great. It is what it is. We're just gonna go ahead and roll with it. As far as restoring one of these things go, it's extremely easy to take this thing apart. So I probably honestly should have done this years ago. I don't know why I didn't think to do it, but here we are today doing it instead. So the front wheel's back on. Now on the back side here, like I said, I got brand new hardware. The other thing I just went ahead and decided to do, just because it was so cheap and I was missing one of the tips on my sprinkler head anyways, I went ahead and picked up one of these universal replacements. For the cost and how quickly I was able to get it, I just figured why not, while I'm already here replacing everything, just pick that up as well. So let's go ahead and get this motor put on here real quick. And everything just kind of goes back together the way it came apart. So, put our screws in here like so. I'm not gonna lie, I actually thought about putting decals on this thing. That's just the ridiculousness that I am. I like to overdo things way past the point of what's practical, but I resisted my urge this time. I'll be honest, as hot as it freaking is outside right now, it's like 85 degrees in my shop. I may end up just setting this thing up and going out here and playing in the sprinkler with the kids here for a little bit if I get this thing put together quick enough. The time I'm making this video, it's mid-June, but we're having a heck of a heat wave come through right now. So it's like mid-90s all week, which for Indiana, it's not unlikely for those temperatures to happen this time of year, but we don't get them all the time. So when we do get them, it's not Texas. We're not used to that heat up here. I'll take my 70s back any day of the week. I love that much. We've actually been kind of spoiled right here recently with the temperatures we've had. All right, that's all there is to putting that dude together. And like I said, all brand new hardware on this thing, so I got new caps to go on the wheels. Get this thing turned over here like so. I gotta reuse these spacers. Put those in like that. Get your wheel back on. And then this dude here, a little tap with the hammer. Okay, maybe a little more than a tap with the hammer, we'll see. I actually put the wheel on the other side because I'm denting my workbench. Let's try putting a socket on this dude and trying to hit it down, see if that has any more luck. That dude is stubborn. There we go. Other side. Socket's definitely the better play. So if you've got, I'm using a half-inch drive, half-inch socket on this to drive these down. That seems to be helping me out quite a bit. There it is. There we go. All right. And that is the weirdest looking yard tractor I've ever seen, but I think it'll work just fine. Go ahead and thread this dude back in here real quick. Snug that up with my wrench. That's all it really takes to rebuild this yard tractor. I've never done that before. You kind of watched me disassemble and assemble this thing for the first time myself. So if I can do it, I know you guys can do it too. Just keep in mind when you're taking these wheels off the old motor, if you damage any of the hardware, it does come with new hardware, but just try not to damage your wheels and you should be good to go. The only thing left to do is get this thing hooked up to a hose and see how it goes. Let's go and get this thing out in the yard, get it hooked up, and see if we can tell a difference before and after. Well, there we have it. Got her all hooked back up. She's back to functioning like she should. That's the quickest that thing has spun in a couple of years now. And I've got it set in the high setting as far as it moving across the ground. It's kind of hard to see. Unless I put this thing on like a time lapse. But I can see the wheels moving ever so slightly. So we are back in business, it looks like. Hopefully that was somewhat helpful for you guys. I know sometimes these little simple tasks like this can seem somewhat daunting at first, but sometimes you just gotta tear into it, start taking some screws out and see where it takes you. And this is actually a pretty easy project if you do decide to try to attempt this. That's all I've got for you today, guys. If you made it this far, I appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. You have a good one.